It's quite I try not to be the bearer of bad news. It is fairly bleak at the moment, and I think what needs to be done is, the organisations will of course operate in their best interests, and they'll reevaluate, and they'll be sort of reevaluating to what extent individuals need to be taken on. The world of work has changed so much. I mean, there's so many. I mean, for a long time, it's been known that the average tenure at organisations might be a year to 2 years for people. But if you go back 50 years or more, I'm not sure that was ever the case, and people would take people on at a junior level and work them through to more senior positions. And I dare say, I might cause some frustrations with people listening to this, but just a priori, I mean, it feels like that option to take people through would be a much cheaper alternative, instead of this kind of endless sort of job hopping that we all, myself included, find ourselves engaging in. I do think, you mentioned sort of political factors, and I know that a huge amount of change has been influenced by the American elections. That classic thing of, if the Americans cough, we all catch a cold. And in Europe, it's always the way. And so, things are changing, and there will be a lot of volatility. I think for individual candidates, obviously, all of this can feel quite depressing, but I think that what we can do as recruitment partners and talent acquisition specialists is try to work out where we can iron out some of the major issues. We spoke a moment ago about candidates. Candidate ghosting still exists, and that to me is, I don't want to come across as some sort of saintly figure, but I find it just incredible that is still so prevalent with people submitting CVs. They're going to a lot of effort to submit CVs and just hearing nothing back and being told that's the way it is. And it's perplexing to me that more can't be done to sort of aid in this. I don't blame recruitment teams because they're getting reduced down. They're getting scaled back all the time because, again, you mentioned sort of redundancies and things like that. I've known teams of 20 and 30 internal recruiters that have been reduced to 2 or 3. What are they to do when those kind of redundancies are announced? But I think what we can do is be far more precise in the jobs that we're putting out there, being far more targeted in the way that we reach out to candidates, and give them a clearer understanding of actually what the opportunity in the role requires. Because I think, we've lightly touched on it, but, it's something that I found in founding Merio Talent, where we frequently aggregate roles. We look at some job descriptions and they are like War and Peace. And you read it, and I hate to say it, but it's some of them, again, without naming names, they feel like a politician's teleprompter. It's a way of saying a lot without really saying anything, and that seems to be quite common. I don't think this helps anybody when they're trying to choose their options and get into work. So, sorry to be so bleak, but when things do get tough, I think we need to go straight back to basics and then really try and help connect people. Let's say if I view it through a graduate lens for a second, the bit that I'm most passionate about, how do we connect the elements from school age, things like industrial placements, apprenticeships, connected to graduate opportunities so you can move the person through. And overall, it should help organizations maintain top talent instead of having to announce these huge redundancies at the drop of a hat.